Hi Taurus, welcome to your new moon in Taurus reading, your new moon for May 19th, 2023. There's no eclipses, so it's a 2-week period, possibly 4, but your theme for the next 2 weeks would be the Lovers, gives you a yes answer. This is love, choices, attraction, karmic relationships. For me, it's very much about choices and commitment to a choice, and needing to commit or be non-committal, or just kind of like pick a team and go with it. Make a choice and go with it. That's basically what's happening here with the Lovers. All right, let's see how that works out through your... It's very often it can be a choice between something mundane and something more lofty. You have to remember that the major arcana are concepts. They belong to the higher self, and the minor arcana are the details, right? The daily life. So the idea of commitment when the Lovers appears. Excuse me. All right. You have the Seven of Swords. I'm sorry, Seven of Wands. This can be an energy of defending our beliefs, our higher, the way we think about something. He has a high position, right? He's on top of the hill, and the people that are trying to knock him down from his position are beneath him, meaning that he has a higher perspective on things. And if you take the high road, chances are you win out. Now, this can also be competition, people competing for a position, a job, a relationship, for whatever that is being chosen at this time. Yeah, duality and choice. 2 is always about choice, because it's this or that, right? It can sometimes be the extremes, the far end of either side of a situation, and not much in between, because, like I said, it's pick a side, right? 1 or 2. This is kind of looking out into the world. The world is your oyster. You had an idea, and now you kind of maybe are wondering, especially with the competition card, what's happening in the outer world? How do other, what is somebody else doing with this idea? Let's say it's, let's just use the tarot for a moment, and let's say somebody's developing, my passion is tarot, and I want to develop a new tarot deck. But how have people done it prior to me? Let me look out into the world. If I did create this, where would it belong? What would be the marketplace? What type of person would I be focusing this energy on, or this product, or my skills, whatever it is? So you're kind of looking and making that decision. It is the first stage in planning and plotting, but it is just the very first stage. So it's either or, yes or no, this or that, duality. So a passion takes one step forward, right? If we're passionate about something, we get excited, and then we take a step towards manifesting it. And this is just that first step, the plotting and planning, but really trying to understand how it works out in the world and amongst your competition, right? Amongst the other people that have the same idea, and how can it rise above everybody else's view or what everybody else is doing. Also, can you commit to it with the Lovers? I have a passionate idea, but do I really want to take it to its fruition? Do I really want to manifest it? It takes a lot of energy and a lot of competition, and there are other people doing it. And do I have what it takes to finish the job? Will I just be spinning my wheels? That kind of energy with the 2 of Wands, and those are the sort of things that you ask yourself. Okay, then you're behaving as a Page of Pentacles. This is my Capricorn card. These are people with square features. This is obviously somebody either less experienced or younger. But this is how you are behaving right now. So this is somebody who has just learned something new and they're ready to show, whether it's a workshop, a class, your master's, it doesn't matter what it is. You've finished it, you understand it, right? You've got the muscle for it, you've practiced it, and now you want to put it out into the world. You want to put it out there. And that's why you're going to see, okay, so what kind of competition am I up against? And again, do I want to commit to this idea? What kind of choice do I have? Especially with the Lovers. What are my choices? Okay, I like this card. It's a Nine of Pentacles. Doesn't surprise me with Taurus because this is a bit of the luxury card. It's somebody who is really has an attention to detail, who respects and really admires the artisan touch, workmanship, beauty, and they'll pay for it, right? And so I think in this case, what I'm looking at here is that you want to excel in what it is that you have chosen to offer the world, right? What it is that you've chosen to offer as your probably your vocation, but something that you're doing tangible, because we are looking at the pentacles here. So this has something to do with the earth and what is tangible, what we can hold. And you want excellence here. You want excellence. You also are looking maybe to find some independence. Maybe you worked for a company before, you learned quite a bit of it, right? And maybe there was even competition around you, and you had to decide whether you would start off on your own or look for something that has already been established. Because the Nine of Pentacles is a very independent person, an independent card. It's the card of inheritance, so it can be that sometimes we have not earned our luxuries, but we inherit them. Having said that, the Page of Pentacles, a Capricorn, works pretty diligently for it. Especially when they are creative and have their own ideas, they can really drive them home. If they take from other people, it's less so. Meaning that if their idea is not their original passion and they want to make something just to make money, it might work for a little while, but there's not enough creative energy behind it to maybe keep it going. And so this kind of feels for me like there is a creative spark here behind what it is that you're putting out into the world. Nice. The Chariot card is self-confidence, but also self-reliance, which goes nicely with that Nine of Pentacles. It's getting things moving, it's getting things started. But it's doing it through, because it's a major arcana, right? It's an internal force. And this is a force that is to be reckoned with, right? The Chariot. It is the alignment of how you feel about something, what you think about it, and your spirited nature, the passion that you put behind it. And kind of following your star, right? The seven frequency is always a bit unique. It's not cookie cutter in any way, shape, or form. And it's, even if the idea is similar to somebody else's, it's how you go about it. It's your personality that you put into it, your self-confidence that drives it home. And it can be because you are reconciling two opposing forces. And maybe you combine them in a way that makes something quite unique that that you bring out into the world. But not yet. With the Hanged Man. Hanged Man means that things are not quite in your hands just yet. But it feels to me like, especially with the Chariot card there, that it's well on its way. Or maybe it's the second half, because this is the new moon, right? It gets things started. And the second half, which would be the 2 weeks after this cycle, maybe you have more in your hands, because there is something that we need to perceive differently when the Hanged Man appears. It's looking at things from a different perspective, but also fortifying our strength in faith in ourselves, possibly faith in the situation, the company. Certainly faith in the higher powers. And they're both major arcana, so we're looking at concepts, we're looking at ideals here. And self-confidence, and the Hangman is faith. It's like the Chariot wants to take control, but the Hanged Man says, first you have to see something first. First you have to maybe know what is out of control, and maybe you haven't seen that yet. Or there's something to be perceived still here. There's with the Hanged Man. We'll see if we can get more information on that in a minute. So let's check out the Seven of Wands and the Two of Wands. Hasn't made you very happy. These are things that we can regret. Regretful actions, regretful words, passions maybe that we've acted on that didn't go well for us, because wands are that internal, fiery, passionate energy. But the Five of Cups leaves us sort of emotionally out of balance or emotionally unhappy. Again, kind of that regretful feeling of, I wish I hadn't have done that, I wish I hadn't have said that. It's called the card of crying over spilt milk, but I think that's a little bit flippant, because when we're in mourning or when we feel bad or regrets, it shouldn't be taken lightly. However, the card does say that there are still good things available from this situation, and that's where you should put your thoughts and energy on now. And so maybe that's what the Hanged Man is doing. Perhaps you want to go forward and negate what has happened in the past, or just let it go, but it seems like you're still emotionally holding on to it. And this card is saying pivot and still see what is good. And that indeed could be what the Hanged Man is asking you to do, is to change your perspective here and not see that it's all a loss, and what it is that you might still be able to use or build upon. Okay. Well, this is unexpected, the Tower card, but it is epiphanies. And both of these cards, I feel, are very independent. For me, the Page of Pentacles, a Capricorn, is kind of like my first responders card. And they can act very quickly and decisively when put in a position of urgency. And the Tower is certainly that feeling of urgency. So maybe you are feeling like things need to get moving now. I have to do this now. I have to make these decisions now. I have to pivot. And the thing with the Tower card is that something may have happened unexpectedly that kind of shook things up, or maybe you're shaking things up. Maybe you did something quite unexpectedly that other people weren't expecting, and shook things up a little bit. But what is eventually happening here with the tower is that we can rebuild then on solid ground. We're shaking loose that which was, I would say, kind of keeping us blocked in. There are no doors or windows that are low enough to get out safely, and so it's this act of God, this fire bolt or this lightning bolt that cracked open the situation, and we're released. And while it may come as a shock, it is sort of a blessing in disguise. It's epiphanies and it is aha moments, which is exactly what the Hanged Man is trying to get us to do here, is trying to get us to realize and understand something that we haven't quite seen yet. So here we have the Page of Cups associated with Pisces. They're probably round in features and could have their eyes, water often has the outside of their eye a little bit downturned. So that's how you would recognize a water person. The Page of Cups is expansive, right? And so we can't be expansive when we're in this tight box that's closed in. And so this act of God, or this event that took place or something that happened, blew it open, and now we can expand. And that goes quite well with the Chariot card as far as I'm concerned, because we're ready to move on something. We are determined, and we are self-reliant, and we are self-confident, which is interesting because the Page of Cups can often have insecurities, but what the Page of Cups often does is that they can act on something before they have all the information. And maybe later, it's kind of like the apprenticeship card, where you are learning it as you're doing it, but there's just a little less experience where the Page of Cups is concerned. If you are to take a different perspective where a Page of Cups is concerned, or how they would consider something, they kind of tend to look at the magical side of things, whereas a Page of Pentacles would be the practical side of things, right? And the Page of Cups is more on an intuitive level, right? So you want to take some practical steps, but the Hanged Man is saying, well, what does your intuition tell you? Or, have you checked with with your astrology lately, or your, tarot reader, or with your spirit guides, or just your spirit? The Chariot is aligned emotionally, mentally, physically with its spirit. So that may be something that you aren't looking at, but I do want to pull one more for that. I have a feeling that it's more like people who invite you in, people who think like you and act like you. The interesting thing about the Capricorn card and the Pisces card, the Page of Cups, is that Capricorn is half goat, half fish. So he can relate very well to a Page of Cups, or understand that emotional side of things. He just finds it more difficult to express it verbally, but feels it quite deeply. So there is a very interesting energy to the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles, in that they understand each other. And the interesting thing is, earth and water make mud, so it's a nice solid element afterwards, right? And in fact, Capricorn is somebody who can handle the emotional side of Pisces by grounding it. The Four of Wands is really nice card. And remember, we're looking at the lovers here, right? So the choices, this can be a romantic choice as well. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. But it can also be, what's practical, because the lovers is something more mundane, right? your choice between something more mundane and something more higher minded, something more ephemeral, something more spiritual. And so the Page of Pentacles would definitely be, let's be practical, whereas the Page of Cups on the upturn side of the Hanged Man would be, well, what would be more spiritual? What would feed my soul? What would feed my spirit? And you just seem to find people who, with that Four of Wands, this can be a rite of passage. So maybe this is something you have to go through in order to find culmination of these energies, right? You have to go through certain steps and certain energies to come out the other end, to understand and experience the entire experience from both sides. And this can be practical and spiritual or emotional. And the Four of Wands are people that think like you, that act like you, that invite you into their situation. So this could be a Page of Cups, somebody who can help you to understand the other side of that experience that you're having. So, if there was a situation that you had to leave because of competition or you didn't get what it is that you wanted, it's very possible that it was a blessing in disguise because something better comes in, something more aligned with what it is that you are hoping for, or something that you are more aligned with what you actually wanted. Because this didn't seem to give us the emotional satisfaction that we wanted. And it's almost like we had to really fight hard for it. There's dualism here, right? It's dualistic. It's this or that. And so it feels to me like it wasn't what it is that you wanted, and maybe it didn't even give you the financial opportunities or rewards that you wanted. And so perhaps you moved on, or you said, okay, I'm going to start my own thing, or I'll do it the way I want to. I'm confident I can do this thing. And if you wait with faith, you get what you want. That's what the Hangman is. And what you want is to be in a conducive environment with people that think like you and act like you. This can also be weddings, it can be festivities, it's rites of passage, so it can be graduation for some people, getting your first job, that kind of thing, because of the Page of Pentacles, who has finished something new and is ready to show the world what he has. Okay, so I left it a little bit open for your interpretation. Take what resonates and leave the rest. Thank you for listening. I hope this has been helpful. I'll be back in 2 weeks with a full moon reading, and I do dailies. Thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Take care.